My name is Zoe Moff and I'm a musician trying to get into composing too and love teaching. I was born in Argentina and moved here to the US like 5 years ago for school. I was able to spend a little time in Boston and then transferred to the University of Colorado. I got my degree in sound engineering and music business, and since then I've just been trying to dip my toes into performing and also just teaching and finding primarily ways of saying something meaningful with music, because I do believe that being an artist is a privilege and also a responsibility that each one of us hold. So I've just been trying to explore myself and what resonates with me and what's going on with the world and how I can do something better with music, right? So what drew me to Music Bridge was the mission of providing a bridge, right? Like just providing that in-between space that it's not given in traditional music spaces and music learning, especially tailoring minorities or marginalized communities, kids and children, right? I got connected to Music Bridge because I knew the executive director and founder, Peter, through schools and like jazz gigs that I would go see, and Aaron Marfiso, the other co-founder, also happened to go to the same college I did. So I heard about him. I think we shared some spaces in school. Then when Music Bridge started coming up and I started hearing about them, I got offered this internship position as a teaching artist. I remember having like the first teacher training, and I was like just stoked because I definitely expected that I was just gonna be thrown into a classroom and be like, oh, do your thing now because you know how to play an instrument, so now teach. And I remember having the first teacher training and I was like, wow, I can see how like these people that have PhDs or that having, you know, spent like 20 years or more in their career doing this or like now providing these resources to me that then I can transfer to the kids in a classroom, right? So I think that just the approach that Music Bridge has to the teaching artists, to their staff, it's seen and it's communicated and transferred strictly into the kids and the work we do. When I first saw the piano at last, it was wild because I've heard about non-traditional and like alternative approaches to music. When I saw the piano at last and just like the color-coded keys, it resonated so much with myself because I never had a background in traditional music. So when I applied to schools in the US and I had to audition for schools, and you know I had to like read traditional staff notation. I remember my first audition, I failed because I had to sight read on bass clef. And I was like, man, like I'm so slow, and I practiced and everything. I was never brought up in that music sphere, so I struggled and had to put the hours in to be able to do that. When I saw this, I was like, this makes so much sense. And even like with me as an adult, if this makes sense, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like a 10-year-old kid that of course is probably never going to be interested in learning stuff notation at their age or is not excited about it, and just having a resource that makes things easier, right? And also gets the kids like closer to just like popular music and what they're actually interested in, not back preludes that maybe they just like don't want to play that day, right? Like Music Bridge being able to expand nationally, in the long term just like internationally too, because I feel like the approach again and just like the resources too that the organization is providing to teachers and to the community itself is so crucial and so valuable, and especially in the way that Music Bridge provides them, which is by partnering with like public schools and by making these workshops or classes 100% free and again accessible and taught by a group of people that have lived those experiences. And something that I was talking to Katrina, our director of education, a couple of days ago was how the high level of musicianship that the Music Bridge team has. So it's wild to be working with all these musicians that, you know, have like an incredible story and background behind them in their craft and what they're doing, and they're using that to provide all these resources and to help all these marginalized communities through music. And I don't think there's anything more beautiful than that, right? I'm excited to scratch those things I have been itching. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out what I'm really here for as a musician. I know that that's giving back to the community. I'm just trying to search how that looks like for me. Maybe in the next 2 years or so, or 5, I'd like to get a degree in music therapy. That's something that I've always, since I was a little kid, I first heard about it from I don't know, a second cousin or something. I remember I was like 12 and she mentioned that she was a music therapist, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And since then it's always something that's been like knocking on my door, and then I chose different paths, but you know, still connected to that. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to exploring. And yeah, just working in general with like neurodivergent communities and people, particularly interested in like autism and like Down syndrome kids. Finding ways of working with those communities, and at the same time, I still love performing and like making music. So I do want to keep that up and just find a good balance there.